Hi there. Real quick before we jump into the episode. If you enjoy this episode, or any of the other episodes, be sure to give us a follow or subscribe. It would also be great if you shared it with a friend, or better yet, left a review so others can know how awesome it is. Thanks so much. And now, the episode.
Hey there, Press Starters, and welcome to the Press Start Leadership Podcast, the podcast about game-changing leadership, teaching you how to get the most out of your product and development team and become the leader you were meant to be. Leadership coaching and training for the international game industry professional. Now, let me introduce you to your host, the man, the myth, the legend, Christopher Mifsud.
Hey there, Press Starters. Welcome back to another awesome edition of the Press Start Leadership Podcast. On this week's episode, we'll be discussing creating engaging video games, a beginner's guide to concepting and prototyping. Learn the basics of brainstorming, prototyping, and playtesting for successful video game design. Creating a video game can be a complex process, but it all starts with a simple idea. In this podcast, we'll explore the basic steps of video game concepting and prototyping, and provide examples to help illustrate these steps. Brainstorming game ideas. The first step in video game concepting is brainstorming game ideas. This involves coming up with a general theme or concept, and then generating more specific ideas that fit within that theme. For example, let's say you want to create a puzzle game. You might start by brainstorming ideas related to puzzles, such as word puzzles, number puzzles, or logic puzzles. From there, you could generate more specific ideas, such as a game where players have to solve math problems to progress, or a game where players have to match colors to progress. Another example is creating a first-person shooter game. You might brainstorm ideas related to first-person shooters, such as different weapons, settings, or enemies. From there, you could generate more specific ideas, such as a game set in a post-apocalyptic world where players have to fight off zombies, or a game set in outer space where players have to defend their spaceship from aliens. Refining your game idea. After brainstorming, you'll need to refine your game idea by thinking about its mechanics, setting, characters, and story. For example, let's say you've decided to create a game where players have to solve math problems to progress. You'll need to think about the mechanics of the game, such as how the math problems will be presented, how difficult they'll be, and how players will progress through the game. You'll also need to think about the setting of the game. Will it be set in a school or classrooms, or in a more fantastical setting like a castle or dungeon? You'll also need to think about the characters in the game. Will players be playing as a student trying to pass a math test, or as a wizard trying to solve math puzzles to save the world? Finally, you'll need to think about the story of the game. How will the math problems fit into the story, and what will be the ultimate goal of the game? Creating a GDD will help you organize your thoughts and ensure that you have a clear vision for your game. Creating a prototype. With a clear game idea and GDD, it's time to create a prototype. A prototype is a basic version of your game that lets you test out your mechanics and gameplay ideas. For example, let's say you've decided to create a game where players have to solve math problems to progress. You could use a prototyping tool like Construct or Game Maker Studio to create a simple version of your game where players are presented with math problems and have to choose the correct answers to progress. Another example is creating a first-person shooter game. You could use a game engine like Unity or Unreal Engine to create a basic version of the game where players can move around a level and shoot at targets. The key is to create a playable prototype as quickly as possible so that you can start testing your game mechanics and gameplay ideas. Playtesting your prototype. Once you have a playable prototype, it's time to start playtesting to get feedback on what works and what doesn't. Get feedback from a diverse group of players with different skill levels, ages, and backgrounds. For example, if you're creating a math puzzle game, you might want to get feedback from students of different ages and skill levels. Ask them specific questions about what they liked and didn't like about the game, and use this feedback to make changes and improvements to your prototype. If you're creating a first-person shooter game, You might want to get feedback from gamers with different levels of experience within the genre. Ask them specific questions about the controls, the level design, and the difficulty level. Use the feedback you receive during playtesting to make changes and iterate on your prototype. This might involve tweaking the game mechanics, adjusting the difficulty level, or improving the overall player experience. Iterating on your prototype. Based on the feedback you receive during playtesting, make changes and iterate on your prototype. Refine your game mechanics, adjust the difficulty level, and improve the player experience. For example, if you're creating a math puzzle game and players are finding the math problems too difficult, you might need to adjust the difficulty level or provide more guidance to help players solve the problems. If players find the game boring, you might need to add more variety or excitement to the gameplay. When you're creating a first-person shooter game and players are finding the controls difficult to use, you might need to adjust the control scheme or provide more tutorials to help players learn how to play. If players are finding the game too easy or too hard, you might need to adjust the difficulty level or provide more options for customization. Remember, the game design is an iterative process, and you may need to go through several rounds of playtesting and prototyping before you have a game that is fun, engaging, and well-balanced. Finalizing your game design. Once you have a polished prototype that you have been playtesting and iterating on, it's time to start finalizing your game design. This means fleshing out the story, creating detailed character designs, and refining the level designs. At this stage, it's also important to consider the technical aspects of game development, such as optimization and performance. You'll need to make sure that your game runs smoothly on a variety of platforms and devices. Marketing and launching your game. Once your game is complete, it's time to start thinking about how you'll market and launch it. This involves creating a marketing plan, building a community around your game, and working with distributors and retailers to get your game into the hands of players. One key aspect of marketing your game is creating a strong brand and visual identity. This includes things like creating a logo, designing a website, and creating promotional materials like trailers and screenshots. Final thoughts. Video game concepting and prototyping are essential steps in creating a video game. By brainstorming game ideas, refining your game concept, creating a prototype, playtesting and iterating, you can create a compelling and engaging game that players will love. Remember that the key to success is to start with a clear game idea and iterate on that through playtesting and prototyping. With dedication and hard work, anyone can create a great video game. Alright, and that's this week's episode of Press Start Leadership. Thanks for listening, and being awesome. Hey there, press starters. Conversations with Christopher is coming back, and we need you. If you're a veteran leader in the video game industry and have years of experience and wisdom to share, we want to hear from you. Share your insights and knowledge on topics such as team management, project leadership, industry trends, and more. Your unique perspective can be a valuable resource for aspiring leaders and those new to the industry. If you're a new leader in the video game industry, we want to hear from you too. Share your experiences as you navigate your way through a new role, the challenges you faced, and the successes you've achieved. Your insights can provide inspiration and guidance to others who are just starting their leadership journey. And if you're an aspiring leader looking for advice, this is the perfect opportunity for you to ask questions to an industry expert. Whether you're looking for advice on how to get started in the industry, how to advance your career, or how to overcome obstacles, this is your chance to get answers from someone who has been there. So, if you're interested in being a part of the conversation, reach out to Christopher, that's me, at Christopher@PressStartLeadership.com. Let us know a little bit about yourself and what you'd like to talk about, and we'll be in touch to schedule a time for the conversation. In addition to sharing your leadership insights and experiences, we want to offer you the opportunity to promote your company, book, open positions, or anything else you'd like to share with our thousands of listeners. This is a chance to showcase your brand and let people know what you and your company are all about. So, whether you're promoting a new game release, a job opening at your studio, or your latest book, this is your chance to get the word out to a wide audience of video game industry professionals and enthusiasts. We believe that conversations with industry leaders are an important way to help others learn and grow, and we're excited to offer this platform to you. So don't miss out on this opportunity to share your wisdom, promote your brand, and connect with others in the video game industry. That's right. Email me, Christopher, at Christopher@PressStartLeadership.com, to schedule a conversation today. We can't wait to hear from you.